Hello, I'm Jody Wolf. You're watching Expoz. Here we are. We made it through the 30th. It is August 31, 2016 at 12:08 a.m. in Birmingham. Topic. I'll give you the title when I finish. Tom Horn, he did a study and he revised the study about Apollyon, who is actually Appolo, who is actually Nimrod. Nimrod was gone when the book of Revelations was written, and it was in the time of the coming of the Antichrist that Revelation mentions that he'll return. The Bible says Apollo. Tom Horn read, he asked how Apollo in the flesh and spirit could return as the Antichrist. It has to be through the Kame Sybil. The next age is to begin during a time of complete chaos. Satan's reigns will be heightened over the earth by a new breed of demigods at the return of Apollo. And Apollo again is Nimrod. The history behind him been chopped up and scattered out, but yet his mother and his wife, the same person, found him because of the importance of his life in the future of this world. The watchers know what's to come. They know as well as we know what is coming. Kame Sybil, his mother, knew. There is a prophecy she knew. So by why should Christians care about Sybil's prophecy on the Great Seal heralding the return of Apollo? A high level of technology was used then, and the same will be used in our time. J.R. Church talked about the bloodline of the Antichrist in the tribe of Dan. Today, those who tamper with DNA are trying to create a new man, and we've heard that over and over, a better humanity. So why is this important? Because of what the Bible tells us about our time. And I'm skipping over some of this. It's 15 minutes long, but I'm going to cut it. So let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come, except there be a falling away first, and then the Son of Man be revealed. We won't be here. We won't be here when that time happens. The falling away will be here, but not when the Son of Man is revealed. The son of perdition, Apollyon, Apollyana, Appolo, 2 Thessalonians 2, verse 3. Here the Bible IDs the gods Apollo as the same spirit, verified by the same name that will inhabit the political leader of the end times in the New World Order. That's Revelations chapter 17, verse 8. The beast that thou saw was and is not, and shall ascend out of the bottomless pit, and he will be the man of perdition, Apollyon, Apollo, Nimrod. All right, let's pass over some of this. This phrase, the beast that thou sawest was and is not, and shall ascend out of the bottomless pit and go into perdition. I misread perdition all this time. Perdition is not a holding place. Perdition is a person, and understood by some as pointing to a spirit or a personality that once lived or inhabited an individual that was deceased. At the writing of Revelations chapter 17, verse 8, but who would return in the latter days to be or to possess the Antichrist. These texts tell us exactly who the spirit or the personality is. Appolo. The same personality was known to the Egyptians as Ocyrus, and in the Old Testament he was named or called Nimrod. But how could Appolo, Ocyrus, Nimrod possibly return in flesh or spirit as the Antichrist? The Cumae Sibyl prophecy. I can't read all that and get it in, but it's the watchers, the fallen angels, was the reference in Noah's time, and Cush begat Nimrod, and then he began to be a mighty one, a Gibberine in the earth, Genesis 10 verse 8. So did Nimrod begin to change genetically, becoming a Gibberine, the offspring of watchers on earth. So his eyes were opened. What happened when Satan told Eve, your eyes will be open? And when his eyes were open, he said, well, I'm going to build a tower right there on that hill, and we're going to stick up into heaven. We'll be like gods. We'll go there. And this is when God confused them and scattered them. But Nimrod was killed and scattered. They found all his parts and brought him back, but one. But then you go into on 16th Street in Washington, D.C., after the swearing in. There's a second phase of the swearing in. And if you go to the dome and look up, the underbelly of the dome, the White House, there are 72 pentagrams. There's not one angel, not one cross, not one Jesus, not a Michael, the archangel. There's 72 pentagrams. The Washington Monument is 666 feet tall, and the base is 666 inches. There's a reason that every president is carried into the house of the temple, the Scottish Rite, Freemasonry in Washington, D.C., again on 16th Street, and not on a public tour. But jumping into what Tom Horn said, he did receive a public tour, just he and his wife. He said he got in there and was afraid. 2 33rd degree Masons carried him in, and he looked up from the giant altar in the middle of the room. Why is an altar in the middle of the room? He said above the altar is a 36 panel magic 666 square that is the raising ceremony to bring forth the spirit of Ocyrus from the underworld. Why? To inhabit the leader of this country. Now, it doesn't mean that it does. One of them, he will. And when I tell you this, you just might know who that one will be. Tom Horn said the only question was that when he asked the 33-degree Masons, he said they answered everything except, is every president endowed with Ocyrus from the underworld? That's the only question that they didn't answer. He said, I didn't push it, and my wife nudged me and said, let's get out of here. And he said it scared him. He said he didn't feel safe just being in there. The entire area of the White House, the Washington Monument, is the identical layout of the Vatican. The occultists believe that 2012 had nothing to do with what a lot of people thought this was the time. But no, they think it's now. They think this is the time, 2016. Now, this is why I mentioned Hillary Clinton as Nimrod. I said that. Again, Cush begat Nimrod. Nimrod, he began to be a mighty one, a Gibberim in the earth. In Genesis 10:8, did Nimrod become or began to change through ritualistic or sexually becoming a Gibberim, the offspring of the watchers on the earth, and his mother, Sybil Kume, or Kume Sybil, had 6 fingers, and when it showed him as a baby and her as the mother, she's holding him. He's this big, and she's a giant. And he began like her. But Nimrod is both. He's a he and a she. And if that's the truth, and if that's the case, then a female can receive the spirit of Nimrod, or Appolo, or Ocyrus, and be the president. And that would be a sad day. But we won't be here. We won't know the name of the Antichrist, because that person will be the Antichrist and will be made the head of the new world order. I can't see 4 more years going by. I'm seeing what's in front of me today, and it doesn't look good. Even though Trump is here, prophecy, he may get sworn in, he may be the president, but nothing says he won't be taken out in 2 weeks. And I mean taken out, he just accepted Christ recently. So when we go, he goes. Jody Wolf Expoz.